Aw, man, here I was wanting to be nice and happy, talk about the best things I got this year, and what happens? Look at the lighting, the mood, it looks like piss. What am I to do? What the fuck? Oh, hey, that's finally back. What's up, gamers? 2024 is behind us, but if you watched my last video, you'd already know that. Or just looked at a calendar. Honestly, I have to say, overall, it was a pretty good year. It was just kind of quiet, at least for me. But I was just kind of on the side, collecting, not really making videos, because... But I think in order to reflect on how good of a year it was, we will be doing a top 15... I just realized I have the fucking thing! The top 15 pickups of 2024. Now, just like always, before we get into the actual list, let's go over a couple of honorable mentions, and I do mean a couple of them. Now, here's the main one. So this one technically doesn't count as a Transformer. By the way, last year I did just anything, not just Transformers. This time it will be entirely Transformers. This one, I don't know if you want to count it, because it's not made by Hasbro, but it is technically a Transformer, and an official product made by a giant corporation, and that is... the Transforming Carnotaurus. Okay, so this one's kind of an interesting story because the main reason I wanted to include it is because of what it represents. It doesn't really have much to do with Transformers, but more of just a huge experience that I had. Last year I was planning on... I'll just hold him like this. Last year I was planning on making this huge video on the Carnotaurus, which included a giant section about going to Florida so I could finally ride Dinosaur. And it wasn't just Dinosaur I went to, or Animal Kingdom, I also went to Islands of Adventure, and I found this guy, and I was like, ooh, he looks really cool. But he was $35, and I'm like, there's no way I'm paying $35 for this thing. I know that's not its official price. And then I went on Amazon, and when I got back, I noticed that he was $8. So anyone who says that Disney is the only theme park corporation that wants your money and blatantly scams you, that's not entirely true. I love Universal. I'm excited for Epic Universe, but that shit's a little pricey too. I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, I mostly just wanted to put this on the list just for what it represents. That was a really fun time for me. And again, technically this counts as a Transformer because it's a Carnotaurus with really weird arms, but you can transform it. It's a very easy transformation. They also have multiple of these kinds of figures, but this is the only one I got just because I like the Carnotaurus. So you just do that, and then you do that. And he's a Stegosaurus. Isn't that cool? They have a couple of others, like a T-Rex that turns into an Ankylosaurus, or a Baryonyx that turns into like a Hadrosaur. But this is the only one that I got. One thing I don't like about this one is when you turn it over, he's got like a Gigan buzzsaw in his stomach because of the Stegosaurus mode. Kind of unfortunate.
What's so wrong with that?
And I wish he turned into something else. I think having him turn to a Hadrosaur would have made a little bit more sense, but that's personally just me. I mean, this is still a nice little figure to remind me of going to Orlando, so I decided to mention it at least. If that's not good enough for you, I do have a couple of others. Premium Finish Airazor. This is really just the Kingdom figure, except a little bit nicer painted, so I didn't feel like it really counted. Also, I also want to mention Beast Machine's Cheetor, because this is not only the last time we got a new core class in the Legacy line before they killed it off, this is also the last time that Hasbro will ever touch Beast Machines, so I think it's at least somewhat worth celebrating. Anyways, let's get on to the actual list. Transmetal Rhinox. Ah, shit. Now, I don't really have that many Transmetals in my collection. I had Airazor for the longest time. I was given a Cheetor, I got this guy, and I also got Optimus Primal really recently. So I just realized that I basically have the Rise of the Beast cast as Transmetals, and those designs are basically more Transmetals than actual Beast Wars stuff, so that's kind of fun. I mean, Rhinox is one of my favorite characters, so I'm just really glad I got this dude. One thing I don't really like about this figure, though, is that whenever they do reuse this design, they always use the very toy-accurate head, and Transmetals don't really do that. Like, the Rat Trap toy and the Rat Trap show model look vastly different. Cheetor, too. Optimus, I guess, was just a little too weird and abstract. Tarantulas is another example where it's not the toy-accurate head. I don't know. It's a terrible drawing, but this is like a drawing I made back in 2017. I feel like this is what he should look like if you're going to use Transmetal Rhinox again. But yeah, anyways, this is a really fun figure. It's really nice, and I was very glad to have it. I think I got this dude around the same time as I got that Dinobot knockoff. And he had some stuff that was a little too tight, and I was very mad at first, but I just put some like dish soap like in here, which is where the tight stuff was, and it's perfectly fine now. So I guess if you have something too tight, just use dish soap. Didn't work on that Dinobot KO. He just kind of sucks, but not this guy. Yep, next up we got Studio Series 86 Slag. I'm not calling him Slug. I'm not even going to call him Slog, because that's not his official name. It's Slag. Oh, but it's a curse word, mate, isn't it? Let's go have some beans and chips. Listen, I get that in, like, Beanland, it's a naughty word, and that's why they changed it. That's fine, but, like, over here, it just means scrap. I mean, if Beast Wars can say Slag, I can, right? But anyways, this is a figure that I really wanted to get for the longest time, but he was one of those very hard to get figures because he was only released once. Although, for the longest time, he was released normally, and he wasn't very hard to get. I just didn't want to get him at the time. And then as soon as I wanted him, he went off the shelves, and everyone's like, oh, late tax, because this community is fucking deplorable. But eventually, Big Bad Toy Store just sold him, and I was finally able to get this guy.
Louder, baby! Oh yeah!
Slag is my favorite of the Dinobots. I think his robot mode is my second favorite, and his alt mode is my favorite. The reason he isn't any higher, though, despite the fact that it's really satisfying to finally get this, is I was kind of disappointed with it, and I realized that he's definitely the weakest of the Dinobots. The main reason is his proportions I don't really care for. First off, I don't like the red head. I know it's supposed to be cartoon accurate, and I get it, but I'm more of a fan of like the black head. I just think it looks less, I don't know, less dull. But these arms are really tiny, and I guess I'll give the core class this. He's got really pidgey arms too, but I guess that's just kind of how this character design is. And I don't know if having the big broad body makes his arms look better or worse. I guess his legs do look a lot better, so I vastly prefer this over the core class. Also, a nice clean back. Yeah, I'm not a fan of his robot mode, but I will say his transformation, and especially his alt mode, are very good, so I still really like this figure. Cybertron Hotshot, the Legacy United one. Now, it was kind of tricky to choose between this guy and Starscream. Wait, what am I talking about? It wasn't tricky at all because, well, I mean, that figure wasn't even in the honorable mentions. But I gotta be honest, Legacy United was kind of a weird wave. The first two waves were absolutely amazing, and I absolutely loved it, but then it kind of just fell off immediately afterwards. Like, Wave 5 will be cool, because, like, it'll be nice to get a lot of package refreshes of things that were really hard to get. But, like, Waves 4 and 3 were so mid. But hey, this was like the one good figure out of Wave 3, so, you know, for what that's worth, that's pretty damn cool. It is pretty simple. I mean, it's just the original toy, but just a little better, so that is nice. But hey, it's a cool figure of a toy that I had as a kid. His transformation and car mode are really smooth. It's just a good time all around. It's very nice. And if you're after any Carbots in Legacy United or even Evolution, I think this is one of the better ones to get, honestly. It might be the best one, but I'm not entirely sure about that. Core class Snarl.
Oh, mate, Mr. T. His name is Tasmania Kid. His name is not Snarl. Snarl is the Dinobot. A core class Snarl is the one from the previous wave.
Listen, dude, I'm not calling this dude Tasmania Kid. I get it. If referring to these figures as their Beast Wars 2 counterparts because they were technically on a show is what makes these figures viable to be in new toy lines, that's all well and good. But to me, this guy will always be Snarl and not Tasmania Kid. Like, if they make a new Power Pinch, I'm going to pop off. But you will catch me dead before I refer to that dude as Scissor Boy. But this is probably one of my favorite announcements for Legacy United because they're doing non-show Beast Wars characters. That's really, really cool. And it made me really excited to get this guy. And yeah, he's great. Though he does have a couple of problems. Number one, of all the non-show characters to do, maybe Snarl wasn't my particular favorite. I think really the only thing that is remarkable about this character is that I made like a story a long time ago of what if Beast Wars had all of the characters and not just like 7 of them. And he was like the one dude who didn't turn to a transmetal or have some other unique thing about him, or like he wasn't a Fusor who survived. Everyone, all of them died. And I kind of was just like, oh, he's just really lucky. But outside of that, he's probably one of the most unremarkable Beast Wars character designs, other than like maybe Drillbit. Second, the main reason I was excited for this guy is because of what he meant for the future. But, well, after Legacy United, we got Age of the Primes, and Age of the Primes doesn't have any of these kinds of characters. I mean, it's got Skybite, who could be repainted into Transmetal 2 Cybershark, but that's really about it. Overall, it's nice that I got this regardless, and for what it means, it's still cool, just not really, like, my all-time favorite anymore. Gears. Much like Studio Series 86 Slag, this is one of the figures that was really hard to get for a long time, because for some reason he was just either really short-stacked, or everyone just wanted to get this guy. Can't really blame them. It's been a long time since, like, what, G1? That really terrible Generations repaint?
I say, hey, you goofy-looking, baldy-headed fuck. Looks good on you. It's ugly, repulsive, and disgusting.
And he was also, like, a canceled figure. Of course everyone wants to get this guy. But it just meant that I couldn't get this guy for the longest time. I finally got him in, like, November. And, dude, he is worth it. Like, this thing is incredible. First off, he's a mini-bot, and I love the mini-bots. But second off, this dude is, like, perfect. His robot mode is so great. All of the joints are so satisfying. His transformation is both really complex, but also incredibly intuitive and fun. Not annoying in the slightest. His alt mode is super great. This thing is, like, it's the best Gears toy that's ever been made. And I got both this guy and another figure we'll be talking about in just a second on the same day. And I think that was the same day that Bowser vs. Eggman came out. That was a good-ass day. I'm not gonna lie. Shit was tight. But yeah, I mean, I was just really excited to get this figure. I finally did, and he lived up to my expectations. Everyone who says this is, like, one of the best figures of Legacy United, they're not wrong. Cybershark. The Beast Wars reissues were kind of weird because they started at first with like the really reasonable ones, and then they just kind of gave up and didn't finish the cast, and were just like, we're just gonna do a bunch of non-show characters. Kind of reminds me of when I wanted to do like make pipe cleaner stuff of all of the Beast Wars characters, but I didn't have any gray, so I couldn't make half of the original cast. I didn't have any of the animal prints, so I couldn't do Cheetor and Tigatron. I was just like, yeah, fuck it, I'm just gonna do random characters that didn't appear on the show. But after the first 4, I didn't really follow up on them. I got a Scorponok for a really good price, but I don't remember which year I got that, so I couldn't include them on the list. And then after a while, I just kind of stopped getting them. Eventually, I got this guy, and he is really cool. His transformation's pretty simple, but it's fun. His alt mode is really great, and he's just got so much variety when it comes to his robot mode, most notably because of this. You can open this up and pull out one of his... Oh, yeah, no, you push along here. Yep, there you go. You can take one of his missiles, which has a shark face on it, which is fun. Push that in. Nice. Or... best toy ever. Weaponizers are back. The last review I made before I took a hiatus was the Rock Lords, and yeah, I mean, the Rock Lords were really cool. First off, they were the first proper weaponizers since Kingdom. The Junkions don't really count because they're more armorizers, which is funny because these guys are called the Armorizers. But also, these guys are just really cool characters, and of all of them, Shard is easily the best. She has the best design, the most interesting engineering. She also has the best weaponizing aspects. I mean, she is a good weaponizer for herself. She's got 4 swords, 2 blasters. That allows for a lot of mix and matching and customizability with the weapons. She's just incredibly fun, and I was very excited to get this figure, and she definitely lived up to it. Her design kind of reminds me of that one Waspinator helicopter toy that they made, the third-party one, except this one doesn't suck. It's Polar Claw, baby. I don't really know why I love Polar Claw so much. I just do. I found this dude for like a really good price. He was like $20 and he was basically complete. I think the main reason I like this character is because I already mentioned that whole story I made earlier, and I think Polar Claw was my favorite character that I made. He basically had the Dinobot treatment because I'm like, well, I don't want to do Code of Hero again because either it's not going to be as good or like the same thing. And like, what's even the point of that? Give us something new, right? And Polar Claw is just such a fun character, so I think that's why I really resonate with him. He's also got such a cool toy. Like, his arms become spring weapons, but like they're actually fun gimmicks and not super intrusive because, I mean, the articulation isn't great in the alt mode, but it's a Beast Wars toy. They never were that great. And also, I was kind of worried because I had the impression that his gimmicks kind of ruined this figure because of how intrusive they are. Not really, like... His hips have a lot of motion. I mean, they don't really go in and out that much, but that's mostly because of the design of the leg and not the gimmicks itself. This is a figure that wears the gimmicks incredibly well. Not a big fan of this head sculpt, though, but you can turn it around. Neat. Yeah, Polar Claw is just such a cool character. I don't know what it is, but there's something really alluring about this, and I think I got this just because I'm like, well, if I ever review the Gears, it'd be funny to put this guy next to him, right? You know the reason. I really hope they make either a Voyager or a leader for this guy, because, let's be honest, the polar bear, huge animal. It'd be really cool to have a leader of Maximal. That isn't a Transmetal. Or a...
Monkey!
We're halfway through the list now, and you know what that means. Unless you didn't watch last year's video, you probably actually didn't, because that video sucked. Anyways... We're now going to rank my 5 favorite game pickups of last year. Well, pickups isn't really the proper term. Some of them kind of is. It's the same thing with this list. It doesn't have to come out this year or 2024. As long as I played it first in 2024, it qualifies for the list. Now that I think about it, though, this is actually a pretty interesting list. I might actually go a little bit more in depth on this in a later video. Even though it's kind of pointless because I'm about to spoil the entire list. Anyways, let's go over the honorable mention, which I won't talk about later because, well, this game isn't even that good, and that is Batman Arkham Origins. I love the Batman Arkham games. They were my favorite games ever made. But everyone was like, oh, actually, you need to play Arkham Origins. It's really good. And it's good, but I had some problems with it, which is why I don't like it as much as the other 4. Namely... the skill tree is really, really stupid. It made the game a lot more unfun to play. And also the map layout, it just sucks, man. It's really, really bad. Like, they have the steel mill in the museum, but instead of the museum being like a really fun labyrinth, it's just a bank. It's one room, and the steel mill is just like a couple of rooms. It's also very uninspired. The game feels uninspired is what I'm trying to say. It has the best story of the 4 games and also the best final boss. Also, everyone says this game's boss fight's really good. The only good one's Bane. Anyways, game's still good, and I also played on my birthday. It's another Arkham game. It at least has that. I don't think it's good enough to be on the actual list. All right, let's get on with it. Damn, this is a really stacked list. Both the toys and the games that I played. Maybe that's why I actually had such a bad procrastination problem this year. Legacy United Motormaster. I didn't want to include Optimus as good as it was. I think it actually was probably the best toy of Legacy United. I mean, it's basically Siege Prime, but it's animated, so it has a little bit more style. It's about as good as that figure. And I decided to go with Motormaster, number 1, because I have a soft spot for Motormaster. Number 2, I mean, this head sculpt is absolutely phenomenal. It kind of reminds me of, like, the Justice League animated Lobo. Like, this is such a great head sculpt. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the Optimus one, but this one just looks so much nicer and so much cooler and more animated-esque. He's just cool as hell, dude. Plus, I wanted to put a little bit of variety in this line. Also, one of the later figures from Legacy United. Wave 4 was overall not bad. I got him in Quake. I know I made the video on Quake, but I do like that figure. It's just a little unfortunate with his QC, but this thing's absolutely excellent. I got him out. I really wasn't thinking too much about it, but then when I opened it, I'm like, dude, this guy is sick. I mean, he absolutely is. A great toy, a great character, and I really like how what they're doing with animated right now is not doing the other missing characters like Megatron, Starscream, Ratchet, Blitzwing, Black Arachnia. I would like to get a Black Arachnia. They're instead doing characters like Motormaster or Wasp. figures that were either notoriously hard to get in the original lineup or just were canceled. And I think it's really cool that they're doing those instead of, the standard things you would pick for animated. So that's all really cool. This thing, absolute treasure. I honestly can't say which I prefer, this guy or the Legacy one, the Commander class. That's how good this guy is. Missing Link, baby. Missing Link is like the coolest thing that Transformers has been doing, or Hasbro, Takara, whoever's making this, keep doing it. Maybe lower the prices. I'm not paying $90 for a fucking Sunstreaker. I did pay $40 for the Bumblebee. Actually, funnily enough, I was considering putting Bumblebee here because, well, I love G1 toy Bumblebee. He's my favorite design easily. He's got all of the design aspects I love about Bumblebee. He's also got the best head sculpt. I love that toy. Not to mention it would have added a little bit more variety to this list. I didn't really do that because, well, he still hasn't gotten here. So I also was thinking about putting Tidal Wave on this list, but I didn't have the time, so I don't know. But I think I've already mentioned that. Anyways, let's talk about this guy. It's a G1 toy line. It's basically G1 reissues, but they made them hyper-articulated. That's something I always wanted them to do because I thought those toys were really cool, but just give them a bit more articulation. Sure, they look a little funky, but that's just part of the charm. As long as they have okay posability, I think it's fine. I know the Bumblebee has some weird joints that are missing, but as long as it has more than 2 points of articulation, 3 if you count the head going up and down, or mostly just down, I'm fine with it. Maybe not worth $40, but we'll cross that road when we get there. Missing Link is just fucking rad as hell. It's not kind of what I usually expect out of Transformers. The engineering on this dude is very, very simple, but I have a soft spot for the original toy. It wasn't mine, but it was my older brother's, and especially with the trailer, I just thought it was a really cool toy. So to finally have it, but a lot better and superposable, this is still one of the coolest toys that has ever been made. I know it's objectively not one of the best toys that Hasbro's made this year, but I don't get, this thing is just, this is cool. I don't care who you are, this is such a cool idea, and I really hope they do more. I know they're doing RC because she never got an original toy, and Sunstreaker because it was basically the first non-parts forming Transformer ever, I think. Don't quote me on that. It's technically at first it's something, but I'm just really happy that they're doing this. So remember when I said that no repeating characters? I lied. Okay, now to be fair, the main reason I decided to include both of them is that they're both very different, at least from what I want out of a Transformer. I put Missing Link on this list because it's not because it's a great Optimus Prime, but for what it represents. It's just so unique and so cool. This is just one of the best Transformers I've ever had. Honestly, if you asked me which I preferred, this guy or Siege Optimus, which is one of my favorite Transformers ever, I don't think I could answer you. I couldn't even tell you which one's better. Obviously it's this guy, but it's a commander class. He's basically a leader by himself, so it makes sense he's a little better, but they're just both so perfect. It's hard to choose a better one. This is basically if you combine Siege Optimus and Commander Rodimus and... That's really all I need to say, man. You know how good this thing is. I can't put into words how great this thing is. The engineering is so fun. Both modes are almost perfect, but about good enough that I can basically call them perfect. I really can't ask for more. I was a little worried at first because a lot of the pictures made his head look a little small. He looked kind of like the Magic Square one. No, not the one that everyone likes. The one beforehand, that one. But honestly, in hand, it's perfect. It's so good. And I'm really glad. I got this guy in Gears the same day, dude. Peak. This guy and this releasing on the same day for me.
It was a wonderful day.
Honestly, the fact that there are 4 figures left after we combined 2 of my favorite Transformers ever into one goes to show how cracked this year was when it came to incredibly good releases. Anyways, let's talk about something else that's really good. Tigerhawk. I love Tigatron, I love Airazor, Tiger Hawk is a cool combination, and this toy is really good! Alright, listen, I'm just gonna spoil it. The rest of this list is Beast Wars. I had to, man. I had to. It was just so nice. The Beast Wars was finally back. And what the fuck am I talking about? We had Rise of the Beast last year. Okay, but that's like a different kind. Just like actual Beast Wars releases. And a lot of them were really obscure too. Dude, that is just, oh man, was absolutely sick. This figure is just fantastic. Robot mode is so great. Engineering can be a little tricky at first, but really fun and satisfying when you get to it. Alt mode is a banger. I did have a Tiger Hawk toy at one point, but it was just missing so many parts that I didn't feel like I wanted to put it on the list, but this guy, he absolutely makes the list. He is just so good. I love how this is also basically just the original toy, but like the proportions are a little better, and these flaps exist so that both the robot mode and the alt mode look a little bit more cohesive. What a clean figure this is. But I've already made a review on him, so if you really want to hear me gush about it, you can just watch that. Silverbolt! Legacy United Silverbolt, dude. Oh my god, this is just amazing. The Fusors are back and being sold again, even though it's just Silverbolt, and I think he's, other than Buzzclaw, probably the most uninspired of the Fusors, but like, dude, who cares? The Fusors are back. I love the Fusors. Can you tell? Can you tell? Can you tell I like the Fusors? Can you tell? The fact that they made Silverbolt a Voyager is just really nice attention to detail, and this figure's just really great. I heard some people don't like it, though. Like, some people just think the colors are a little boring. Like, I mean, what else do you want them to do? That's just how Silverbolt is. Some people think that engineering is, like, a lot lamer. No. See, here's the thing. Silverbolt is kind of like Optimus Primal and Scorponok, where the original toys were already so good that it's kind of hard to make a new toy that's like actually interesting. But here's the thing you need to know. Silverbolt's transformation, not hard at all, it was super easy. Flip down the wolf head, spread out the arms and wrap them around to become the legs, pull the arms forward, and you're done, basically. And then fold down the backpack. But, I mean, you only fold down the tail in the original toy. That's it. That's not interesting enough. But, like, this dude, he still has some of that. Like, these arms still pop out, but, like, I remember seeing the first couple of renders for this guy and like imagining how this guy transforms and just being really intrigued. And at the end of the day, it's still a really cool engineering process. I think my favorite part is doing this. Like, this is just really satisfying and fun. This dude's just great. I mean, both modes look great. I will say, they both have like one little problem. I feel like the backpack on this guy is a little far back and a little small in beast mode, and in robot mode it hangs maybe just a little too low. But dude, I mean, other than that, this thing's basically perfect. It's what I wanted out of Optimus Primal and Scorponok. A fantastic robot mode that's even better than the original somehow. An alt mode that's also really, really nice. And an engineering process that's actually interesting, but still really fun. It's as fun, if not more fun, than the original figure, which was already a really cool engineering process. It's unique, it's different, it's satisfying, it's fun to do. This dude is basically everything. Is he better than Studio Series 86, Optimus, and Tiger Hawk? I don't think so, but I like Silverbolt more, so what can you do? You knew this guy was going to be on this list. If the Fusors coming back was cool enough, a brand new Magmatron that's also the big Commander class. If you don't remember, the last Commander class I got before this guy, the Armada Optimus, was a very unfortunate case because mine broke, and I could get it fixed. At this point, I don't care anymore. I don't care. And it made me kind of lose hope in Commander class for a little bit. And then this guy came out, and I love Commander class again. Also Optimus, but you know, I already talked about him. This dude was also a fantastic birthday present. Like, my birthday was otherwise pretty kind of okay, but what made it really cool was, first off, I binge watched Aqua Teen Hunger Force, which is a great show. And second off, I got this guy. And yeah, he is a wonderful birthday present. He's just so cool. The fact that we got a Magmatron, which I didn't think we'd ever get another Magmatron, and he was the Commander class. Like, dude, this was a literal dream come true. Here's the thing. I don't think I'll ever review this, because, like, a review, you have to be impartial, you have to be objective, not, like, factually correct, but you have to put object thought and arguments into why you think something is good or bad. I can't do that with this guy. It's impossible. It's impossible. I don't know if he's, like, the best Commander class. I don't know if he's the worst. I don't know. I do know he's good, but, like, how good, precisely why he's good, I can't tell you, man. It's just, I love him. He's just, yes. I can't give him an S, I can't give him an A, I can't give him a B, I can't give him a C, a D, an F. I definitely wouldn't do that one. Or even like an SSS. All I can call, the only score I can give this is a yes. Because it's a win. It's so specifically what I want and what I would never imagine. And it's real. The thing with me is a lot of the stuff that I want is like stuff that's very unrealistic. And that's fine because like I don't want exactly what I want. If it's something that's cool enough, I'm still a happy camper. Like I know we're never going to get this guy, but that's okay. We don't need him. But then when it does happen, it's like it changes my life because like, wow, something specifically for me, that's magic. So you might be thinking, how's this guy not number one? Well, I mean, if this was any other year, okay, maybe not 2023, but if it was literally any other year, he would have been number one pretty easily. Even over like Armada Sideways, which is a really cool find, he still would have been number one. But he's not. And the reason for that is because they managed to make something even better than this. Masterpiece Rhinox. Again, this is just magic. A masterpiece of my favorite character before doing other heavy hitters like Waspinator or Tarantulas or Rat Trap. Masterpiece Rhinox. Again, that is specifically something for me. I know I'm not the only Rhinox fan, but like he's my favorite Transformers character other than maybe Soundwave, and he got a masterpiece. That's amazing. And here's the thing, and I do apologize for being a bit presumptuous because I don't have any of the others, but I think this might actually be the best Masterpiece Beast Wars figure. Like, the robot mode is nearly perfect. He has a lot of brown and backpack, but like other than that, it's basically perfect. It looks like a 3D model super precisely. His engineering process for a Rhinox is actually really fun for both a Rhinox and a Masterpiece. Those are like notoriously hard to get right. Like the Generations and the Kingdom figure, both of the engineering processes, not very fun, very panel heavy. Even the original toy. This dude's a dream to transform. And his alt mode, like again, Rhinox is infamous for having Kibble. Like, I think when you look up Kibble in TF Wiki, he shows up. Granted, it's for his robot mode, not his alt mode. But like even his alt mode, this is always on the feet. He always has a weird looking back legs. He's always got a lot of stuff on his stomach. It's a very commonly imperfect alt mode. This dude's alt mode, not only does it look perfect, but like it has barely any kibble. Like the least amount of kibble of any of these Beast Wars masterpieces. This dude is really, really good. Like really good. And again, the fact that it's Masterpiece Rhinox. I think in my best pickups of 2022, I mentioned that masterpieces are kind of like Disneyland or Disney World. We all love to scoff at it and its bad business practices and how so much better its alternatives are, like Universal Studios, which I do actually prefer Universal Studios, or third-party stuff are, and that you're a fool or a weirdo if you collect them. And, you know, oftentimes I do think that myself, but then when you actually get it for the first time, there's a magic to it. It's like, oh, I get why this is so cool. Getting that first Masterpiece box and going to Disneyland, I was like, well, this is actually pretty cool, I'm not going to lie. But oftentimes, when something magical happens, it's often the sequel. That's the best part. Funnily enough, I think I went to Disney, and then a couple of days later, I got Skids. And the same thing happened. I went to Disney World for Animal Kingdom because I wanted to go on Dinosaur. And then a couple days later, I got this guy. The animal-themed sequel that also is kind of bittersweet was just even more magical. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Because, you know, Animal Kingdom is closing Dinosaur. And after they do that, I will never go to Disney ever again. But then also, this is the last Masterpiece other than God Jinrai before Masterpiece closed down for some reason. They, like, following it up with Masterpiece or MPG or whatever it's called. Why? Like, the only MPG figure we got, everyone says sucks. So what are they doing? I don't know. Regardless, if this is the last Masterpiece Beast Wars we got, it couldn't have been a better pick than Rhinox, who is my favorite character, and I absolutely love it. It's so good. Absolutely sublime figure. This thing is so cool. So that's about it. My top 10 pickups, or no, top 15 pickups of the year. 2024 has been kind of quiet for me, and as a year itself, it wasn't great. But you know what? A really good year for Transformers. This was awesome. I don't know how 2025 will be. I'm not really too fond of Age of the Primes. In fact, I tried making a couple of videos about it. I don't feel like editing them because they're really boring. It's just not for me, man. You know what? That's okay. If this is basically the grand hurrah for Transformers for me, it's a good run. What will I do afterwards if I truly give up on Transformers? That's right, heroin.